Hello, my name is Anthony Hernandez, and I am going to be bringing to you today for my class Adverse Childhood Experiences. It's an issue and a topic that I've spent a lot of time on. It's something that's very near and dear to me during my clinical years. And so hopefully I will be able to convey a message to you in a way that you understand how this is an issue that affects public health as a whole. For me, I think the most important week in this class was the week for mental health. I know a lot of times we spend a lot of time on different things that affect public health, such as, of course, COVID, the virus is how it's affecting us now, and bacterial infections and outbreaks and that sorts. But I think it was also important to bring awareness onto issues that can affect human beings in the future that can be caused by other people, the way we treat other people. So this is what I'm going to focus on going forward into my discussion here. So it's called Adverse Childhood Experiences. So a little bit of background. So the relationship between the childhood abuse, neglect, and household challenges with lifelong health and well-being in the future wasn't really fully understood until there was a CDC Kaiser Permanente study in 1998. It was done between 1995 and 1997, and it had 17,000 health organization members from Southern California. So what this study did, it demonstrated that there was a strong relationship between a child's breadth of exposure to abuse, neglect, and household dysfunction during their childhood, and then also with multiple risk factors for several of the leading causes of death in adults. So they saw a correlation, a strong correlation between the health of individuals later on in life and their well-being early on in life. So how is this issue acquired? I really want to take your focus to the pyramid here. After the original study of the CDC or of the Kaiser, states started to look into their own data into whether or not what they found in the study was true, and they started to come up with this pyramid, at least the CDC did, of how the issue of adverse childhood experiences affect people and their health later on. They started with the historical trauma, again, going into a local context, into your environment where you're at, your social conditions, then leading to your experiences or any adverse events that you have as a child. This then goes on to disrupt neurodevelopment at a young age. It's important. It's a very instrumental time for our development going forward. Um, then with that disrupted neurodevelopment, it started leading into social, emotional, and cognitive impairment. And with that, then they started beginning to adapt or to adopt adverse health risk behaviors. These adverse risk behaviors then led to disease, disability, and social problems, and that ultimately led to earlier deaths than we saw from people who did not have as bad childhood experiences going forward. So if you ask what are the high risk groups of interest, so anybody is considered high risk if they answer 4 or more yeses to the questionnaires that are developed by the CDC for adverse childhood experiences, things as emotional abuse, physical abuse, sexual abuse, household challenges such as mother was treated violently, or substance abuse, maybe mental illness in the family, and then neglect also, like emotional and physical neglect. What they found in the initial study that women were answered 4 or more higher on a lot of the at a 15% rate as compared to men who are at a 9% rate, as you can see on the slide on the right. And as they developed more data, they also found that minority groups are at a higher risk of answering 4 or more questions also. So with all this information, all this data, we see the correlation, we understand, okay, there's something going on, exactly what do we do about it? The CDC has developed an preventing ACEs strategy. As you can see, some of these strategies involve strengthening economic supports to families, promoting social norms that protect against violence and adversity, ensuring a strong start for children, which is very important, teaching skills, connecting youth to caring adults and activities, and then intervention to lessen immediate and long-term harms. So the intervention to lessen intermediate and long-term harms, I believe, as a healthcare official, that's where we should start. As a healthcare official, I really want to know what what's going on in my community. What is it exactly that ACEs is? Where is it happening? How is it happening? I need the information in order to make a change into the people that I'm trying to help. So I'm looking to find the high risk children in my community, and I think for myself as a healthcare official, I think the best way to do that is to develop a screening tool that we can give to various places within the community to determine where my high risk children is going to be and where the interventions can be had in the certain environments. If you see it right, there's an example of a questionnaire that was developed by the CDC as to yes or no questions. There's various ones. There's ones for different ages. There's one for parents, one for older children. But this is just an example of things that we can be handing out on to different clinics and to various places around the community to start screening for adverse childhood experiences. For me, I think one of the greatest or the best places that we can start to develop this would be in the foster care setting. I believe that there will be a high risk populace there, having gone through the traumatic experience of losing family members or not having your parents around. So I think that would be a great option for us to start developing screening in the community. So this is my concept map. It's really simple. I wanted to not try to overindulge this idea with so many things that we kind of lose track of what is the most important. As you can see, the initial get down with no prevention, it starts with disruptive neurodevelopment, social, emotional, cognitive impairment, adoption of health risk behaviors, impacts on life potential, and then leading to disease, disability, and social problems, and ultimately early death. This is something that with the disruptive neural development, we know that continues throughout childhood. So this is an issue that is going to continue to happen. So this line of no prevention or intervention is extremely stagnated every second that we don't intervene in a child's neural development after experiencing adverse childhood experiences. And then on the left, you can see is the early prevention and intervention will lead to non-disruptive neurodevelopment. And I really believe that's where the healthcare officials can begin to make an impact onto a fairly new idea that's in the medical community. And thank you.